Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. I'm a licensed cognitive behavior therapist and a licensed mental health counselor. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the contents in this channel. This is all my thoughts, my speculations, and my opinions. Today I'd like to talk about the case of the Idaho 4. May the 4 victims rest in peace, condolence to their families, and may the correct justice be served one day. I'd like to apologize for the background. There's a bit of traffic, but it's a beautiful place. Just sitting outside near my home. Wanted to talk about DM and BF today. The surviving two roommates who allegedly made it because they were hiding in BF's room. This doesn't make sense at all. The report I read to y'all yesterday clearly said that DM allegedly heard Brian Koberger telling KAYLEE, "I'm here for you." Now that is a red flag. If you hear somebody that is not supposed to be at your house telling your roommate, "I'm here for you," and you don't recognize the voice, you should immediately call law enforcement. What was DM up to that night is my question. DM has already made over $100,000 for her GoFundMe. It frustrates me and upsets me because it's not about the money. It's about the principle. DM and BF know exactly what took place that night. From the beginning of this case, my subscribers know me. I've never changed my opinion, and I won't. The fraternities and the sororities and the surviving roommates are involved, in my opinion. The surviving roommates are involved because that should have been a federal crime. They did not call the police for 9 hours, 8 hours. Make that make sense. Were they waiting for the victims to be completely unalived? Why didn't they call 911? Let's not forget, if BF was so scared, she wouldn't have ran. If DM was so scared, she wouldn't have run to BF's room. Why didn't she just run outside? If there's someone in the house unaliving, sorry guys, your friends, wouldn't you personally run outside if you had the chance? Why were they hiding in BF's room? And if it was Koberger who did it, why would he have left DM standing? Make that make sense. He just allegedly committed a quadruple. And he saw that one of the witnesses saw him. He would have just unalived him, in my opinion. Trigger warning. But that didn't happen because DM knew the fraternity boys and the sororities who did this. We are adults. We can't run away from the facts. The cover-up, in my opinion, I'm calling it a cover-up, in my opinion, has gone to another stage. Why didn't they tell us in the beginning that DM heard Koberger telling Maddie, "I'm here to help you"? Why now? To make it seem more believable for us? I still don't buy that Koberger did the crimes. BF was selling rugs. I have seen her Venmos and I've exposed them. There's a reason BK asked for BF. Let's not forget. Why would he ask only for BF? He said that BF had exculpatory evidence. Why didn't BF come to face Koberger is my question. Why was she hiding? This doesn't make sense. Look at DM's room. That should have been the crime scene to start with. Her sheets are bloody. The initial JC is written on the pillow. You can go back to my clips and watch it. I have shown you, although it was blurry, I've shown you that there were two bodies, trigger warning, lying on the floor, and the guy was taking pictures. I personally believe that was Zana and Ethan. I believe two of the victims were unalived outside, and two of them were unalived on Maddie's bed. I don't believe anyone was sleeping. In the beginning, we heard ABC News and Fox News saying that this was so bad that there was red liquid on the walls. What happened? Did they stage it? Or did they clean up the crime scene, is my question. If they did some cleaning, it wasn't any good cleaning. Why did they wait 8 hours to call the police? Did they hate these victims so much that they had to do a quadruple? This was pre-planned. Ryan, the guy from Sigma Chi, said that they pre-planned this. We heard from David B. and David Lodge on 4chan. We heard that they were rummaging upstairs and it was a Sigma Chi fraternity boys. The Alpha Kappa Lambda boys are the ones I'm most interested in. If you all notice, most of my clips from the beginning is about Banfield. I must have analyzed it 10 to 20 times, and it's about the grub truck. There's a reason. Everything I see is actually happening there. It's not happening anywhere else. Everything is happening there. There was, I believe, a couple of crime scenes, and one of the most important one is the one at 1119 King Road, the big white house. You see all the lights were on, you see people running up and down, and I see bodies on the floor. 156 is very interesting to me. That is when KAYLEE and Maddie came home, and that's when we hear all the yelling in Linda Lane. These people gagged the students, I believe. I can see things that look like ropes tied on DM's bed. I've always believed from the beginning that the students were gagged. The reason I believe that is when I look at the pictures Saeed was watching, it looked like people were gagged. They had their hands tied behind their backs. Today, I'm trying to be honest. I've always been honest, but today I'm putting it out there. I don't trust Dylan. I don't trust BF with her exculpatory evidence. Somebody sent me a comment. He said he was from the Sigma Chi. Sorry, not Sigma Chi. He was from the college. He said he doesn't live far from 1122 King Road. If this is true, this is what he said. He said that, I don't know, around 3 a.m. or 3:30, I'm sure he's hearing me, correct me if I'm wrong. He said that BF ran naked from the house. Now this is a student. I don't think he would make this up. He said she was running and she kept on screaming and yelling that he has a large knife. He said, I thought she was joking. I said, good for you. He said, later on I found out about the quadruples and I feel so bad. I wish I knew it was that serious. I thought they were joking, and I'm sure he thought they were joking because that was a party house. Let's not forget. Why are the police covering this up? They know it was a party house. They know that people were selling drugs in the house. The cab driver himself said it. He said to the news that this was the party spot. This is where he used to drive people to collect their drugs. So who was selling in this house? I believe many people, but I believe BF. Because Bethany Funk is Venmos are exposed. People were telling her to put COKE under Raleig's dumpster. What was actually going on? I personally believe BK came to buy rugs. Pay attention, he was only there a couple of minutes. He's not John Wick. He ain't somebody who could have committed for a quadruple. He allegedly stabbed Zana 52 times. Now think about the strength it takes to fight a person and stab them 52 times. I personally do not believe it was one person who did it. Many people attacked Zana, many people attacked KAYLEE. But I'll tell y'all, I hope that Maddie, God forbid, passed away quickly. Because Maddie, number 9, put something in her mouth. So I personally believe, I've always said that, maybe Maddie, may she rest in peace, yells or screams, so they were scared to be busted. So she was already intoxicated. May God bless her soul. They made sure they put something in her mouth. They could have OD'd Maddie. Have we ever thought of that? I've spoken about that before. Number 9 put something in her mouth. Isn't it strange that everyone in the university, especially the guy Dave, said that the WhatsApp messages, the Snapchat messages, the Instagram messages that were going on from the college at 10 a.m. is that the students OD'd. If one OD'd, they must have, God forbid, they must have attacked the rest of the victims. What if Zana and Ethan were given something heavy that they OD'd themselves? These people planted rugs on Zana's room. I don't think Zana would have had things like that just lying around. The more I research and check, Zana and KAYLEE used to only drink. They did not use rugs. But DM said that she thought KAYLEE was using rugs. And she said Zana uses rugs. I'm sure they must have been using party rugs. But I think these people literally were behind the unalivings. Everything points to DM. Why? If DM could hear voices and she heard BK, Brian Koberger telling KAYLEE, I'm here to help, why didn't she call the police? If she could hear KAYLEE talking, she would have heard people fighting for their lives. DM, I said it out there, is lying. So is BF. I don't know if they were involved in the unlivings itself, but I believe they were involved in the plan. I believe personally that BF and DM heard everything. It was a hell of a fight upstairs. They ignored it. These people are watching Vampire Diaries. I really believe they were carrying the Traveler's Knife. If you look at the Traveler's Knife and if you Google it up and if you watch Vampire Diary, you will see it does look like a cable. They have it in different sizes. They have it in different shapes. They could have even used the vampire's dagger. That is a knife with a wooden edge, but it does damage. These people were watching the Vampire Diaries. These people were imitating the Vampire Diaries, in my opinion. David B. knows how. No, he doesn't know. He's very good in science. On his TikTok, he had bodies on the morgue. You could see the toes, and then you could see, the tag they put on the toes, God forbid. That is not something to joke with, and this man was putting it up on his TikTok. Ryan was putting up sick pictures, and he's from the Sigma Chi. He works with Jack K. Jack K was wishing him luck. Now, who's Jack Katuvosh? Jack K was the one who started the GoFundMe for Ethan at 3:30. Isn't that a red flag? Jack K and Liz Katuvish, his sister, and Molly Gray were sending each other Venmos. What were these people betting on? And I won't be surprised if they had a body cam on while they were unaliving these students. I hate to say that, because I've heard plenty of times that there was recordings on the dark market. If that is true, what could have been so bad for them to have unalived 4 human beings is the question. DM should not even be put as a witness, because she said she wasn't sure if she was hallucinating. Now, as a licensed mental health counselor, I would have said immediately, if I saw DM, I would have said, take her to the mental health, the mental health suite. Take her to a counseling suite. Let her talk about it. Because a counselor, especially CBT, would have helped to find out where her mind, her thoughts were. They should have taken blood tests of both BK and DM and checked if there are rugs in the system, what kind of rugs, was she hallucinating from mushrooms, what was going on. Because these people ignored, don't forget, they ignored to call the police. They let these poor victims be unalived. And that is really heartbreaking. I am so fed up of this cover-up. I don't believe whoever did this is from Boise or anywhere. I believe it's the fraternities, the sororities, and the surviving roommates. I still stand by what I believe from day one, and thank God, whatever's in the dark will come to the light. They're exposing themselves. David Lodge said he would go to Scotland, and he did, I heard, go to Scotland. We have Maddie's boyfriend, who immediately moved to Spain. And then we have Jack Showalter, who immediately drove to his parents' cabin. We saw Jack Showalter was carrying at the grub truck. What he had in his pocket looked like a traveler's knife. And what he had in his jacket could have been anything. That could have been the firework that allegedly BF heard. Guys, let's not forget, Jack Showalter threatened these girls on the way. He said, you know, we're going to get you for this, Maddie. And Katie said, Maddie, what did he tell Adam? And she said, I told Adam everything. Adam, what did Maddie tell him? And who did he tell him? The info to is important. These people were at the grub truck stalking these girls. They were eyeing these girls. They were recording Maddie and KAYLEE. I showed you, and it's heartbreaking. I don't understand why the families are not speaking. They should expose the truth. They know it's the fraternities who did it, especially Ethan's family. Are they under threats? Possible, because BK is under threats himself. They're covering up this case because of the university. If they don't do that, they will lose millions of dollars. The income of Idaho Moscow, 40 to 40% of it comes from the university. So do we think that they are going to solve this case by putting their fraternities and their surviving roommates in prison and in court? It's easier for them to blame one man and make him a patsy, in my opinion. We saw Koberger's car coming there, but it wasn't for more than 3 minutes. I believe Koberger came to buy rugs from 1122 King Road. That is what I believe. And I believe the surviving roommates, especially BF, could have framed them, Because think about it. Why didn't Koberger ask for DM? Well, who did he ask for? Koberger said, I want to speak to Bethany Funk. She has exculpatory evidence. The exculpatory evidence she has, honestly, is that she's dealing drugs, in my opinion. This is only my opinion. And it's not only my opinion, it's the facts. Her Venmos are talking for themselves. At least 4 different people asked her for COK, COKE. Some people even asked her directly COCAIN. So these people are doing the white stuff. These people are not in their right months. Look at what DM said. She said, I'm not sure if I was hallucinating. How could they make DM their witness is what bothers me. I personally believe she is involved. I personally believe BF was involved. And the tripod, if you remember, said that a blonde woman was running from the sliding door to front of the house. It was 2 a.m. Isn't it strange that the young man from the college said exactly the same? He said DM, not DM, BF was running naked from the house. Now that is what he said, so that is a speculation. But think about that. The tripod recorded a blonde woman running from the house, and this young man said he lives next to 1122 King Road and he saw BF run. Isn't that strange? Now that's 2 people saying that. They left the front door open. They knew the students were being unalived. Whether DM and BF were threatened or not, they didn't call the cops. And this is sad. I hope justice will be served, not only on this earth, in heaven. God doesn't like evil. Neither do we. This case has really made me sentimental. This case has really changed my ways of thinking, especially with my family, with my sons, with my daughter, with all my children, with my nephews, with my nieces. I have changed. I have become really extra, I think, protective over them, because we don't know what is out there. After I see the grub truck and after I see Banfield, I don't trust what these youngins are doing. And I'll end by saying, I personally believe there was 3 crime scenes. The first one was 1122 King Road. Second one was 1119 King Road, the big white house. If I got the number wrong, you will remember the guy running out taking pictures of the body. That was the second crime scene for Zana and Ethan. And I believe DM's room is a crime scene itself. The woman had mask hanging everywhere. She had red liquid on her bed. Are we going to ignore that? Why were there cans on the steps? I personally believe that this was a setup. Enough is enough. I don't know where BK is involved, but I am starting to really believe that BK just came to buy rugs and they set him up. Why are they recording BK in jail? That really frustrates me as a mental health counselor. Let the man live. Let the man live. Even if he did the crimes, he's already serving his time. These people are making mockery out of everything. You have DM who is making over 100K for not calling the police. Look at these people. It's really sad. Guys, it's been a long tape, long video. I think I'll end it here because it's getting windy, but it's a beautiful day. I want to end by saying I can't hide it anymore. I'm not blaming people, but I'm saying it out loud what I believe. DM and BF were involved. Involved in what sense? That they didn't call 911. They were whispering at the backgrounds of the 911 call. I've always said from the beginning, it was 2 timelines. something happened to Ethan and Zana between 2 to 2:15. When they were calling out, Ethan, let's go, Zana, at the grub truck, if you remember, that is when the unalivings happened. Because Stacy Chapman said 2 a.m. is the hardest time for a family. I've said that from day one. That was the first crime scene. The second crime scene is related to what Fo-Chan said. Fo-Chan said they were rummaging upstairs, the Sigma Chi fraternity boys, and I believe the Alpha Kappa Lambda boys, the Banfield boys. He said they were going to do it in 19 minutes. They went to the house at 2:52, 2:53. That is when Maddie Morgan is calling BF. Poor girl, she's calling for help. But BF obviously and DM did not answer because they're part of it, in my opinion. There's no other way to explain it. Absolutely no other way to explain it. They all knew, they all let it happen. These people were playing Vampire Diaries and everything because this was a bloody scene. I think they framed BK. I'm saying it out there. Unless BK was involved in just planning these things, all I'm saying is, just like Ann Taylor said, there's 4 alternative suspects. I believe there are more than 4. There were watchouts. There were watchouts everywhere. Look at the Banfield, how they're eyeing the girls. So one timeline was between 1:56 to 2:05, 2:10, and the other crime scene was between 2:53, when the last call from Jack D was made by KAYLEE. Maddie calls BF. These people were running down the steps. I believe the victims, may God bless their souls, but it was too late for them. They were attacked by people, many people. They could not defend themselves. These people tortured these poor victims. Dateline told us that they carved Ethan's legs. I really believe they would do that because what did Ryan say, guys? The Ryan who was drawing those images, and it was from the Sigma Chi, and he's Jack Katovich's friend. He said Sigma Chi, the first thing is to eliminate the largest person in the room, and that would have been Ethan. He said, take down the biggest threat in the room first, and that would have been Ethan. So after they dealt with Ethan, I'm sure they dealt with Zana. Maddie and KAYLEE, I believe, is more from the sororities. I believe there's a lot of jealousy and hate towards Maddie and KAYLEE. God rest their souls. The Sigma Chi boys, Alpha Kappa Lambda boys, that's the Banfield boys, Saeed, Jovito, all need to be questioned. So this is all I can say. This was a setup. This was a real setup, a real backdoor. These students didn't have a chance. And I'm sure they recorded this and it's somewhere in the dark website. How could DM say she heard Brian Kohlberger telling KAYLEE, I'm here for you, and she still did not call the police? That really broke my heart. That really broke my heart. Your roommate is crying out for help. Imagine. KAYLEE depended on them, Maddie depended on them, but they decided to go and hide out in BF's room. It's really sad. It's really horrific what they did to these 4 students, and it's unfair that BK is sitting in for it. They knew if they took this to court, at least 2 to 3 jury members would have made it a hung jury. Let's not forget what BK said from the start. He said, I will be exonerated. So he knows something we don't know. And I hope whatever's in the dark comes to the light. That's the reason I expose these people every time. when people tell y'all that the sororities and what's it called, the Greek life, the fraternities weren't involved, don't believe that. At least I won't believe that. I know there are many creators out there that are talking about the students, the victims, that KAYLEE and Maddie could be in witness protection program. No. In my personal opinion, if KAYLEE and Maddie were in witness protection program, they would have been the witnesses to testify against who did this to them. So that doesn't make sense. We have to stick to the facts, but at the same time, DM is part of the facts. DM said she was hallucinating. How dare you make a witness who was hallucinating, who was on drugs, who was intoxicated, whose mind wasn't sober and clear? How can they make DM the witness? And why is misescapoted evidence BF not talking? They were backdoored. They ran down to BF's room and hid themselves and let the Greek life deal with the 4 victims. Ethan allegedly told people that night they're going to unalive me. He understood that the Sigma Chi fraternity boys were out for them. That's all I can say. Guys, please like, share, and subscribe. And remember, this is all my thoughts, my speculations, and my opinions. I still stand for the fraternities did it. The sororities were involved, and the surviving roommates were involved too. Involved by not calling 911. DM has the audacity to say that she heard Brian Koberger telling KAYLEE, "I'm here for you," and she still did not call 911. DM and BF should have been dealt by the courts. This is really, really a trauma for these poor families to live with. May God give them justice, guys. Love you all. Have a lovely week. Justice for the victims, and may they rest in peace.